Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Well, today we're looking at a list that's, well, it's pretty fascinating. It's all these notable people who made it to, wait for it, 99 years old.
Oh, wow, 99. That's almost a century.
Exactly. It's from the top10s.com, that site where people rank all kinds of things.
I've definitely spent some time on that site.
Right. So this list, it's got everyone from Betty White, everyone loves Betty White,
Oh, yeah.
to Prince Philip, talk about a life intertwined with history.
Absolutely. He saw it all.
And then there's Bob Barker. I mean, the guy's a game show legend. But we're not just going to list off names and dates here, are we?
Definitely not. I think what's really interesting about this list, right, is that all these people, they didn't just live long lives. They lived through so much change.
It's almost hard to grasp. Imagine being born in the 1920s.
And living through, well, everything that's happened since then. World wars, the rise of technology, cultural shifts.
Yeah, they witnessed it all firsthand.
It makes you wonder, what does it take to not just survive, but actually thrive for almost a century?
And to leave such a mark on the world. That's what we're going to explore today.
Sounds like a fascinating dive.
So let's jump right in, shall we? And I think we got to start with, well, who else? Betty White.
Of course. The Golden Girl herself.
I mean, everyone knows her for her comedy.
That wit, that timing,
I know.
iconic.
But she was so much more than just a funny lady,
Oh, absolutely. She was a huge animal advocate.
Seriously dedicated. I was reading about her work with the Morris Animal Foundation.
They fund a lot of scientific research for animals, right?
Yeah, and she was really involved helping them make some big breakthroughs in animal health.
I think that's something people don't always realize about celebrities, that they can use their platform to advocate for causes they really care about.
And Betty White, she definitely did that. She even wrote a whole book about her love for guide dogs.
It's pretty inspiring to see someone use their fame to make a real difference in the world,
Absolutely. All right, so moving on to another incredible woman, Zia Zisa Gabor. Have you heard much about her?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Hungarian-American actress, known for her personality.
Yeah, glamour.
Right. She was in the Miss Hungary pageant back in the day.
Talk about ambitious, but her life wasn't all glitz and glamour.
No, not at all. I mean, imagine having to flee Europe during World War II.
That's right, she immigrated to the U.S. during the war.
And had to rebuild her life in a whole new country.
With a new language and a whole new culture. It must have been incredibly challenging.
I think her story speaks to the resilience of so many immigrants who come to a new place and have to start over.
Yeah, to face those kinds of obstacles and still build a successful career.
It's pretty amazing.
It really is. Okay, get ready for a shifting gears.
Always up for a change of pace.
Let's talk about Billy Graham.
Now, there's a name that resonates.
He was more than just a preacher.
Oh, absolutely. A leading figure in the evangelical Christian movement, ordained Southern Baptist minister.
Right, and he became internationally famous, huge in the late 1940s.
That was a pivotal time, wasn't it? The world was recovering from the war, and people were looking for hope.
And he provided that for many.
And remember, this was the rise of televangelism. Graham was a master of the medium, bringing his sermons into millions of homes through the power of television.
He really shaped the beliefs of a generation.
No doubt about it. And his influence on the growth of the evangelical movement is undeniable. Of course, he wasn't without his critics.
Right, there was controversy around some of his views.
But whether you agreed with him or not, he was a major force in shaping religious and cultural discourse for decades.
Definitely a fascinating figure. Okay, now for someone who brought a different kind of message into people's homes, Bob Barker.
The Price is Right. I mean, who doesn't know that show?
Exactly. But he was on TV for a long time, even before that. Remember Truth or Consequences?
Oh, yeah, he hosted that too. His career spanned decades.
Think about that. Decades of entertaining people.
And he holds the record for the longest-running game show host, right?
He does. A true game show legend.
It's interesting, because his career really reflects the evolution of game shows themselves.
How so?
Well, they've always offered this kind of escapism, right? A chance to win big, to dream a little. And Barker, with his charm and his genuine connection with the contestants, he embodied that.
He made it fun.
Exactly. And I think that's why The Price is Right has remained so popular. It taps into that human desire for a bit of fun, a break from reality,
Makes you want to shout, come on down.
Ha ha ha, exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from comedy to socialites to religion to game shows. It's amazing to think about the impact these individuals had on the world.
It really is. And what's striking is how different their paths were, yet they all achieved such remarkable success and lived such long lives.
And remember, they all lived through nearly a century of change. Do you see any common threads running through their lives? Anything that might have contributed to their longevity and their lasting impact?
That's a great question. I think resilience is definitely a key factor.
Resilience.
Yeah, they all faced challenges, setbacks, disappointments, whether on a personal level or a global scale. They had to adapt and keep going.
That's true. They all lived through some pretty turbulent times.
Exactly. And I think another common thread is passion.
Passion for their work, you mean?
Yeah, they all seem to have a deep-seated passion for what they did, whether it was entertaining audiences, advocating for a cause, or spreading a message. And they weren't afraid to use their platforms to make a difference.
That's a powerful observation. It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
So much we could learn from their lives. If you could ask just one of these individuals one question, what would it be?
Tough one. But I think I'd ask them about their perspective on change.
Change.
Yeah, like what was it like to witness so much transformation over the course of their lives? What advice would they give to future generations about navigating a world that's constantly changing?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with.
It is, isn't it? Makes you think about how we approach change in our own lives.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us and exploring these remarkable lives with us.
It's been a pleasure as always.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep asking those big questions.
And maybe even try ranking a few things on thetop10s.com. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.